We all have a heritage or experiences of some kind, and it's really important that we take time to sit and to talk and to share stories. And it speaks in Deuteronomy 6 about really diligently sharing stories with your children, sitting in your house and talking and sharing those stories.
One of the key things when I think about Betty and Joan, who are women in the faith and mothers in the faith and mothers of our church community, is that they weren't satisfied with just living a comfortable Christian life, but they stepped out of their comfort zone.
You read about heroes of the faith. They actually were, but because it was what we grew up with in our everyday, it just was what it was. They were ahead of their time in what they did and what they wanted to do. And then on top of that, they both had an incredible calling of God on their lives, and they weren't afraid to move into that regardless of what the cost was for them. For Nana, it meant 40 years living in New Guinea in the jungle. Like, it was massive, and she didn't have anything. She had a new husband. She was only newly married, and she arrived in this place to begin translating the Bible.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I find so remarkable is that it didn't stop when they retired, essentially. So when Joan came back from PNG, or when Betty stopped, travelling and preaching, and that didn't mean their ministry stopped or that their service stopped, and that just the fact that both of them stepped out of their churches, and churches particularly for Betty that she had been in for her whole life and had given so much to seeing grow within the city, that she saw the need to establish a church for the next generation, and a church that really empowered young people. I think our church has a real depth and a wisdom that most young churches didn't get to have, because of that, them and the group of women that came and helped us establish the Grainery.
When we were teenagers in youth group, the house was just always packed with people, and sometimes we didn't even know who the people were, the young people were that came into our house. The place was full, and she and Dad, but they just always opened the doors. And I remember even things like she went and bought another freezer so that she could freeze enough food and things so that she could constantly feed the people that came. And obviously you can have that example set, but there has to come a point where you take that onto yourself, that I actually I see this example, I admire this example, but I actually also want to live this life and leave this example for someone else as well.
At their age, I think we talk a lot about don't let your youth stop you, but also don't let your senior years stop you from being in ministry. Like, they just kind of kept going.
Nana and Grandpa had come back from New Guinea at Christmas, and they were these exotic grandparents, and I didn't know what they did over in New Guinea. They just would come a couple of times a year and stay in the little back room and reading the book that she wrote and the things that she endured. It just it breaks your heart, and it also just makes you appreciate what she was prepared to go through, because she just knew so strongly the call of God on her life, and nothing was going to stop her from achieving that.
They totally trusted in God. Like what you said, Mum, that they didn't listen to what the world said, they listened to what God said. The world said that they couldn't do it, but God said that they could.
That's right.
Just amazing how they...
Loving God, loving people.
One of my favourite is when you got given a chopping board for Christmas. I got all these women in leadership books. I got like this pile of books on strong women through history, and she gets a chopping board.
No, but it wasn't just a chopping board.
Yeah,
It
folded, so you could just
tip it.
Yeah, straight into the pot or whatever.
Mess.
Maybe you could take the compliment that she never thought that I was going to build a home. I was just
Change the world.
change the world. But
A little thing like change the world.